Welcome back to Allie's Floating Space to Craft. So I apologize for some of the weird angles you're going to see in some of my videos, but I'm still trying to figure out the best way to videotape here on the ship. So this is in a dining room. You can tell I'm on an oval table. I'm going to make a card, and I had brought along some scraps for cards. If you saw what I'm taking, I put together this little card kit just with a bunch of scraps and made some base pages. So I had intentionally brought along this embellishment, this hummingbird embellishment that I made for one of Ginger's scraps to embellishment swaps on her YouTube channel and Facebook page. And so I just loved the colors that I did on this. I had made 5 of these so that I had an extra one to keep, and I knew I wanted to make a card. My mom loves hummingbirds, and so I wanted to make a card that she could give to one of her friends with a hummingbird on it. So I had a pre-made sentiment that says it's your special day, and that is from the backside of a Paper Rose collection kit title page, which those have been very, very handy, and the color on this is perfect for these pieces of scrap paper that honestly they're from different collections and different types of paper, but they all work together. So this is an old Creative Memories scrap. I'm just going to take off the white edges so that I have a little bit cleaner palette to work with. So I'm just going to start with that, and then looking at the paper that I have, I'm going to cut the long way because this was right at 5 inches. So it's a little bit smaller than you would normally do for an A2 card. An A2 card is 5.5 by 4.25. And so my margin will be a tiny bit bigger than normal with that, but it leaves me an extra piece of that purple paper, which it will be great on another card sometime or something like that. And if I had done it the other way, then I would have had just a smaller long strip on the back. So this is going to be the card base. I'm not going to double mat it. Here I'm just adjusting. I didn't bring a bone folder, so I just used the round edge of my scissors on these. And then I'm going to try and kind of optimize, trying to figure out which way I want the lines going from this paper. I think this is my mind's eye paper from a long, long time ago. So I really want them going horizontally because, you know, hummingbirds. I wanted to sort of get a feel for that movement. So I'm just going to get my personal trimmer out and just optimize the size of that. There are a few little cutouts on this. Because it is truly a scrap from my scrap folders. And then I realized that I can't make it as wide as I would like because I do want to mat it, and the little scrap of paper that I have to mat it is a bit smaller. So I'm just going to mark that. That little holding bin is one of my favorite things about that Creative Memories personal trimmer, that you have that little bin in there for holding stuff. So I'm just going to mark this rather than measuring. And trim that out. And I'm liking that quite a bit. And then I'm going to trim this little sentiment down a bit. I didn't cut it perfectly clean. There was a little bit of the next color, the next stripe on there, so I'm just trimming some of that off. And then I'm going to, I call it fishtail. I've heard it called other things. I'm going to fishtail banner the other end of that. And this is some new dimensional adhesive that I bought. It's not super dimensional, it's just 1 mil dimension, but I'm really enjoying it. It's easy to use. It's from scrapbook.com. And so I'm really pretty pleased with it. And while you know, I feel like you don't need a ton of dimension, you just get just enough to get a little shadow and a little dimension on your project. So I'm actually really pleased with it. And it's a lot less bulky than my big Scotty roll that I use. So now I'm going to glue. Remembered that I hadn't pulled my glue out of my bag yet. That looks like a lot of glue, but it's not. It was a very thin line of glue. So I'm going to put those down first, and then I'm going to do the sentiment because I want to make sure it shifted when I did that. I want to make sure that I have room for that banner. So I'm going to put the banner down where I want it first and then lay in the hummingbird. I figured if they needed to overlap a little bit, they could, but I wanted to make sure that I had that sentiment where I wanted it. So the last step that I want to do is add some a little bling to this. I didn't bring gems, which I should have anticipated. I should have brought some, but I had used a little stickles in the eye, so I'm going to add 3 little stickles dots there up in the upper corner, but I can't do it in the, I was afraid to do it here in the dining room because it would be wet and I would have to carry it back to the room. So I will add a final photo with the, that's where I realize my error, that I'm going to have trouble carrying it back. So let me insert a picture of the final final card, and thanks for watching, you guys.